JP. You can call me anything except Gene or John. I also want to thank Cheryl and Samantha for arranging me. Your logistics and support was fabulous to get me here tonight, and I greatly appreciate it. And it's an honor to be asked to judge. I take this responsibility very serious because I'm a photographer, and I know when I get good feedback and when I don't. But more than anything, I really want tonight to be a learning experience for everyone, including myself. So I was asked to judge on really four criteria, actually just three since we're not doing prints: interest, composition, and technique. And I may occasionally use those words, but my comments will touch on all of those. More than anything, as I look at photographs as a judge, I'm asking myself, what is the artist trying to communicate? We must be communicating something with our photographs. Otherwise, why are we putting in competition? Why are we doing that? So what's the story? That's what I'm looking at. What's the emotion? What is the artist wants me to think about? Not just look at it and just move on. Go, oh wow, this artist, this photograph is challenging maybe the function or a lives that I have. Get me thinking. You have to do more than just do a straight representation in many cases. I just finished reading a great book on Ansel Adams, his early work. And it really was his early stuff, in the 20s and early 30s before he really became. And he admits he had an early exhibit in San Francisco. And later on, when he looked at his work, he said, yeah, something I did in the 20s and early 30s was too representational. You've got to go beyond this is a waterfall. You've got to go. Painters are artists who put things in. A painter, whether you're doing portraiture or abstracts or landscapes, or a painter is intentionally putting every color, every shape. Painting is the art of putting things in. In photography, as photographers, we have to be the opposite. We need to take everything out that's distracting or takes you away from what you're trying to communicate. And you'll see a lot of my comments will really touch on. There's some really great stuff here, but there's some other stuff there that might be better not to have. Some of the things that are things that are distracting, highlights, creating a sense of depth. I think not depth of field, but sense of depth. I'll show you some images that do that really well. What I will not do tonight, and I tried my very best, is not to tell anyone, whether here in the audience or on Zoom, you should do this. I have no prerogative to do that. It is your photograph, not mine. I might suggest, please consider maybe cropping it this, or maybe toning, but it's your image, and it's arrogant for me to tell somebody else what to do. So I'm going to do my best, never to say you should. It's going to be a suggestion. Think about it, take the feedback. Finally, we're all works in progress, including myself. All you're going to hear tonight is one person's opinion, and take it what you want. If you win an award tonight, pat yourself on the back for about 10 seconds and let it go. If you don't win an award, reflect on it for 10 seconds and let it go. Really, please don't take one person's opinion to be the dominant factor in your enjoyment of it. Take the feedback that's constructive, that helps you advance as communicating. But again, I just want to. And so I will do the best that I can to share with you where I think images do really well, they could be strengthened. Okay? So let's have some fun. I also really, you guys finish it. My goal is to finish on time. Okay? So for the folks who are in the audience, I'll point with my finger, and the folks on Zoom, you'll have to do your best.
I'll try to, like, use the mouse.
Oh,
I'll just try to follow you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we're going to start with welcome. So that just walked in. Okay, we're going to start with novice color, and I'm just going to go ahead and just bring up. We have. So it looks like we have about 11.
So you tell me after go for how many second thirds and you go through this.
She'll do the
Okay.
It'll be first, second, third.
That's for a second.
And you do have the option to give an extra one, well, if you feel like an honorable mention is deserved,
Okay.
and also if you want to get first and second are deserved.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure these because you're really good. All right, so I'm just going to go in order as to what they're on.
So this is really what I liked about this capture are the colors. The color competition. So there really is great color. There's great focus down in here with the on the leaves, but that's really nice and focused. What's really, really nice is the depth of field. Your eye stays here on the flower, I think it's a sunflower, but the background is nice and natural. Don't lose any distraction there. What I'll also do tonight, when I say something's in there, I'm really doing, it's a little nitpick, but it's a little thing that I think we all need to pay attention to. Down here in this lower right corner, one little leaf that pops up is a little bit distracting. And again, it's just a nitpick. One little thing there, that lower right corner would be nice. We'll keep this one in the. So this one, again, fabulous colors. You know, blue, one of the rarest colors in nature. So when you see it, it really catches your attention. It does mine. So you've got some really nice complementary colors of the blue and the yellow. Nice detail here in the center. All of that is really nice. The image itself is centered, and you know we all hear, don't do that. Sometimes in the center is the right place for something to be. So that's really good. Where I think where this image could be improved is all the green I find to be a little distracting because some of it is in focus. If you look over here on the left and on the top, there are others that are soft. So I think we really need to go one or the other. And I think it would have been better if all the green was soft, but we'll keep this one in. So this was exciting. And again, this is what you did during the summer. This photograph does a number of things that are really important, that are good. One is tremendous capturing of action. Look at the muscles in the horse. You just sense the power and the determination. How the heads are lined up going in that certain direction. What's really key is here, this space here, the forward feet of the horse, there's a gap between the hoofs and that top bar. Similarly, the bottom hoofs, there's a gap between, you know, they're not hidden. You clearly see the hoof. If the hoof had been hidden by the bar, that would have been distracting. So I really, really love this. If there's one, again, I put this in the nitpicky category. You see just to the right of the horse's head, you see this little gap of green and then the tent. It would have been great. And again, the capture is what it is. If you're trying to take an action shot, it's hard to think of it. But this would have been really nice if that had that little green in there hadn't been. But otherwise, it's a beautiful image. We'll keep this. So here, this image of the horse, I love the determination. I love, in particular, the angle of the horse's head. It's like it's coming to the left. And I love this action of the horse's hair on the back of his head. All of that's really working really nice. And I like the straps, and that gives it some tension. Where this image, I think, could be strengthened is all the background is somewhat distracting. I've got red up here in this upper right. I got red and yellows in the lower left, and some negative space up here in the upper left. And all of that just takes my eye away from staying focused on the horse. So this one will pass.
At the end, I'll sort it at the end.
I'm sorry.
I'll have to
Okay.
move it to the end.
So this is a really, really nice, again, complementary colors. Anytime you can put shades of blue or shades of yellow together, you're usually going to get something that looks really, really nice. So great composition. I like, you know, the perspective and all of that. What is a little distracting and I think takes away from the image is this foliage in the lower left area. I want my eyes to stay here because you can see what's really nicely here. There's an implied diagonal between the two statues, and your eyes see that. And your eyes, when your eyes see a diagonal, it senses movement. It's not static. And that's really terrific. And also the green behind the statue in the rear is also a bit distracting. So with things like wildlife and statues like this or man-made things, you got to find some creative way, either dramatic light, something you've never seen. So if it's wildlife, some animal behavior that's really unusual, you know, you somehow put yourself into the image. So this one we'll pass on. This I really love. This still life. There's just a lot going on here. It's really, really a lot of fun. I love the overall tone, you know, this sort of like antique look of the scale. The red radishes are beautifully scattered about. I love within the basket, you've got this one with the little like growth stem coming out of it. And sort of like this one down here, just to the left, it's almost like a peekaboo. What I think is good, but what I would have liked is over here on the extreme left at the very edge of the, I'm going to call it a basket, there is a gap there, and that's good. I would have liked it to be just a little bit bigger. It almost feels like it's crouching. This particular image, I looked at it and it just felt a little out of balance when I had a chance to look at it. So I measured it. And sure enough, the right-hand side, when I measured on my computer, was about 3 5/8 inches. On the left, it was about 3 inches. So this image, it's gorgeous. But it feels a little off balance. If you're going to put something in the center, put it in the center because you know it's in the center. If you put it just slightly off center, the viewer doesn't know, was that intentional or was that an error? And the fact that it's just slightly, I find disturbing. I find it unsettling. And I think you could have cropped just a little bit off the right-hand side. And I think that would have brought it into the center. All that being said, I like it. Great picture of this frog. I love the eyes. I love the detail in the feet. The background, the depth of field, that's all soft, out of focus, beautifully done, very nicely handled. But I want something more. I want this frog. I want to see that tongue coming out, grabbing a fly or something. So very, very nice image, but I'm going to pass on this one. Beautiful great blue heron. I'm not a birder, so if I'm a little slow on my bird identification, please forgive me for that. But a really nice profile. Everything that should be in sharp is sharp, in particular the eyes. Love that, again, this diagonal line above his beak of feathers. The depth of field is all real. I mean, the background is softly out of focus. This green up here on the extreme right, maybe just tone that down a tiny bit because any highlights will pull your eye. You want the eye, your attention to stay here. That just pulls it off a little bit. This is where I would like to see some dramatic lights. We're going to pass on this, but very nicely done. So this was a really fun image. It almost really spoke to me of the COVID times of what is this about? I don't know. I don't know if those lanterns that have candles in them, if they're on a glass surface in water. I don't know. I don't care. because I really like it. Again, this diagonal, like anytime you can have diagonals, it creates tension, creates movement. Your eye wants to go in a direction. The reflections down here are just gorgeous. The fact that it's all black, you know, the handling of this negative space, you almost have you have like almost two L's here formed, beautifully done. So we'll keep this a little. It feels a little soft. I would like it to be a little sharper, but I really like it. So we'll keep it. This is a very nice close-up where I think the artist, the magic, was right in here, this center part of the, what do you call that?
Stamen.
The stamen, okay. That's where the magic is. That's what I think the photographer was interested in. And it's something hard to do, but if you do this just before you press that shutter, is ask yourself, what exactly am I excited about? And have I focused on that and taken everything out extraneous that takes away? I think this is the magic. This is beautiful. It looks like a starship, not a starfish. It looks like some underwater animal. Unfortunately, all of the rest of the image kind of takes away from this magic part. So if you could imagine cropping it in, you're going to lose a lot of pixels to do this. But there's a great magic right there, focusing just that lower corner. So we'll pass on this. Very nice. So let me just give you a heads up. Sometimes I take when an image comes up, I take a second. I'll talk right away. And I'm trying to remember what I saw. And I'm also, as a judge, I'm not trying to be impressed, being wowed by shiny colors and all that, because some of the best images are really subtle. And this is an example of a really subtle, beautifully handled image. I love, you see these three huts or gazebos at the end of the piers, they form a triangle. My eye comes down this waterway, takes a right, sees that center hut gazebo, and then comes to the one over here to the left, and I come back to the foreground, and my eye just keeps going round and round and round. And then I see a red canoe bottom. Now, how lucky is that to have a red hull down there? All this is beautiful. And I also really like the foreground. You see, you know, I don't know what that is in the mud, but you've got life there. All of this is great. One thing I would ask the artist to consider is the sky is beautiful, but do you need all of it? So just think about cropping, see what it looks like, see what kind of reaction you have at one point. I just feel there's an awful lot, and the horizon is almost in a center, and sometimes the horizon center is what's awful. So that there's nothing wrong with that. It just feels that this big sky is competing with this awesome terrestrial scene. We'll keep this.
That's the last one. Back to good. Okay. So what I was going to do is I'm going to pull these to the
Okay.
Oh, that didn't work. Hold on. Let me pull that back to the front. You said no. And frog was a no, right?
Correct. The red.
Oh, you know what? There is
Oh,
one more. It
there was
just
one
didn't want to come up.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it's because it's a little smaller. I don't know.
Okay, right. So this I really liked. What really caught my eye, and I don't know if you in the audience can see as well as I can, but there's all these speckles, and you know they're out of focus, and I'm not sure how those were created. I can see, you know, you've got some waterfall action, and how those were created, I don't know, but I just think they're really, really neat. And while we're seeing the girl, you know, or the child to the back, I can imagine what she's thinking or what she's reflecting upon. So I love all of that. I also really love the fact that you see a foot. So that conveys more to her because I don't see her face. I see other parts of her body. I think that's great. And again, back to my comments about painters versus art photographers, what I would, and again, this is again losing some pixels, I would ask you to think about this extreme left and extreme right. I think is detracting from keeping focus on the girl. I think this takes away from you, and particularly this curvy line over here on the extreme left. I know that's water coming in, but I don't think you need it. I think that would work really nice. We'll pass on this
All right, so that's at the end.
one.
So,
That's at the end.
so you have
So we could take the red one.
this one.
So now, first, second, third.
Yeah. And if you want me to open one up again, let me know.
So I am going to give an honorable mention
Okay.
to the one with the scale.
Okay. I'm gonna leave it there and then I'll
Okay.
just drag the,
Okay.
well, actually, let me go ahead. I'll drag it to the front. and then
Okay.
Maybe. It's supposed to do it for me. There we go. All right, then I'll drag you.
And then third place, we'll go to the lanterns.
Okay.
Second place to the horse. And first place to the coastal sea.
This one?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So I'm going to start with honorable mention and just try to see if the information is in there. We asked for people to put metadata in, but we'll see. Some made it, some didn't. This is Rick LaDuca, excuse me. And if anybody's online, I'd like to say something in the chat. If anybody's online, like Greg, talk about like where.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
But
yeah.
we can wait till the end on all that. What do you think? Yeah, we'll just wait till the end. I'll just announce it. When we're live, normally we let everybody just say where they took the picture or, you know, what inspired them or whatever. All right, third place is no name. Oh, good. Excellent.
The Lantern Festival at the National Harbor, people can make their own lanterns and set them out. They do that every year. That's. Design caption.
Awesome. All right.
What's your name? I'm sorry. Tiana.
That's Tiana.
Oh, hey,
Very nice.
All right, second place is the horse, and let's see, this is Pam Miller. Upperville Jumper is the name of it. Pam's online. And then first place we have Shannon Gilmore. Hopefully she's online. I think she was online earlier.
I am.
Very nice.
Awesome. All right. And that one, I don't see a name. So in the room, this is the button you use to add your titles, and you could just put it in the caption or the keywords or the title here. Oh, this is called Morning Glory. But I couldn't see that right away. So,
How is it being used to influence?
so we've never used titles before. We've always hidden everything. But this year we were thinking if we could just start doing that, it might tell the story better. So we'll put out some more information. It's not leading anything tonight, but for future, hopefully it'll strengthen us a little bit.
Sam,
All right.
Cam and Shannon are on.
Okay.
Sam.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna go jump to Novice Monochrome. And this has 7. So,
Southern, first and second.
okay, so first and second.
Okay.
Hey,
All right, we're
Sam,
gonna start with the first one.
Sam, can you hear me?
So one general comment when I look at black and whites and monochromes, as I'm looking for contrast in particular, I'm looking for white lights and dark darks. That's like the starting point for my how I calibrate my eye, and then we'll go from there. So this is I love this still life. There are black blacks and white whites. I love how the bottle is tilted a little bit to the side, so it's not straight on. I love the fact that you notice that the bottle isn't full, it's not empty. There's still some in there, so it kind of shows that this bottle is still has a life. The candle and the reflections and all of that is all really, really nice. I love the space over here, this little vase or two feathers coming up. I love how the one on the left, there's just a tiny bit of space between it and the bottle, creates a little bit of a sense of depth. That's really good. The other one kind of overlaps, but the composition was designed to be that way. So it's really, really a nice image. The tones overall are very pleasing. I love this piece of paper. Again, it really gives it a sense of a still life that has life to it. So we'll keep this. This one of I believe it's an egret. I look at it and it almost feels like, one is I love it. Let me just say that right away. The body, there's just something about, it's almost like it's luminescent, or there's something about it that just really captures my attention. And I love all the feathers above the bird, the way they just come out and curve. It's like a fan or something. And just the shading of, the light gray, you might say, in the body really gives it a sense of depth. And the legs are black, and there's black interspersed with the white. All of that is just fabulous. I take this to be an environmental portraiture, like this bird is probably taking off from that shrubbery on the lower left. But I have to say that shrubbery I almost would like it better without it. You'd be taking away perhaps that environmental portraiture, the environment where the bird relates to. But I think this is a strong enough image that would do fine without it. And perhaps, think about doing it in a square format. I think that would really make it better. Anyway, we'll keep it. So this is fun. Another still life. I love all the different pieces that are at play. I love the black background. So your eye stays here. There's some nice gradation in the tones of the boxes. There is pure black. And over here, this box over to the right, that right-hand side, it's not pure white, but it's pretty close. You might say there's some pure white in the lantern. So it's a really nice composition. It's all really nicely balanced, and the tacks really give it a nice sense of purpose and all of that. So it's all really, really nice pieces. If I had just one critique, for some reason, the overlap of the ruler with the lantern, I just think a little space there would have strengthened this, but I love it, so we'll keep it. And I'm going to just go back, again, diagonal line, putting that hammer in that position, I think gives this photograph a lot of dynamic light. Yeah. So this really caught my eye. I almost felt like it was something like in a Hard Rock Cafe or someplace like that. And I'm gonna assume that this is some kind of abstract, because hardly anything, I don't think anything is really sharp and focused. And I'm gonna take that was intentional, that this was not unintentional. So I love it. It's dynamic and all of that. The challenge, though, is when you do something that's all out of focus, and believe me, a lot of my multiple exposures, there isn't anything really in focus, but my eye here struggles as to where to focus. I think I want to focus on the engine parts because there's all sorts of stuff going on in there, but my eye doesn't really know where to rest. So I'm going to pass on this one. Really nice scene of a boardwalk. There's definitely some blacks. There's really no pure whites. A little hint of that maybe here on the right side in between some of these panels in the fence. So there isn't this image. It could benefit from more contrast, more pop, as you would say. And I'm also asking myself, was the artist, what was he or she, are they trying to communicate to me? And I think, and I'm just guessing, but I see all these benches back here that are all empty. And I'm just wondering, I'm almost like this is COVID times, creating a sense of, loneliness perhaps. If that was the case, I think moving to the right and showing more of the boardwalk I might have conveyed that. So just a few things to consider. So we'll pass on this one. This is a really interesting image. It almost feels like it's post-Katrina or some other recent hurricane. The handling of there's pure blacks in the sand and up in the sky, and you've got some pure whites in the cloud and probably in the sand. So you got great contrast, but the handling of the sand fence is beautiful. And the way how it's twists and it comes left, it comes right, your eye just follows that and it leads you off into the horizon, which is kind of nondescript. I think I see some houses over here, but they're so, they really don't take it. But what really catches my eye is this area to the left of the fence. That almost looks like the eye of a hurricane. That's why this to me feels like this is the aftermath of some storm. That's what I get away from this. I love the horizon is a little above center, which I think is good. The sky is awesome. One thing that I would ask you to consider, and just play with this, is do you need this topmost part of the sky? Take a look at that. See what you think. Maybe you want to keep it all in there. I'm just wondering, I love this part, this center right part of the clouds. That's really interesting. But over here on the left, less so. So just think about it, but very, very nicely done. So we'll keep. So this beach scene, what I really like is the transition from water to sand. And in between, you've got wet sand, dry sand, some seaweed, drier sand, and then drier sand. So you really see this transition and your eye goes really nicely along here and it curves back. And the sky itself is okay. Again, I think it might be better. The clouds that are really interesting are the ones right above the horizon. Those are beautiful. The top third, I think, are a little bit distracting, and you might want to think about and just consider, cropping those out, because my eye gets pulled away from that. And what is the artist? What is he or she or they? What are they trying to communicate? What's the message? What's the story? And I'm missing that a little bit with a lot of that. So we'll pass on this one.
All right, let me get them. Okay. Oops. Okay, passed on those two for sure.
Yeah, we'll
And then this guy. All right, there we go. So you got the.
we have 4 left.
I'm wondering if I can.
I'm working off of. Okay, honorable mention to the bourbon.
You want to do first, second, third? Because this was 2.
Oh, it's just 2.
Yeah, but you can do a third.
I can do a third.
So
Okay.
bourbon would be the third.
No, I'm just going to do 3.
Okay.
And then,
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, bourbon.
Sorry, bourbon. I'll take a drink. Third place, the bird. And then that was third. Okay.
Yeah.
Second place, the boxes. And in first place, the beach.
All right. Third place is Pam Miller again. She likes birds. She's really
And I'm
cute.
here. I couldn't get off mute the last time.
Hi. And actually, I was thinking if people are online, they can.
Pardon?
Here. If people are online, they can.
Okay, you want me to send it as a message?
Sure. Well, they can hear me.
Can you hear me?
We can't hear them.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Sorry. We'll figure this out for next time. It's hard with on the fly stuff. All right. This one, second place is Shaker Boxes by Rick LaDuca. He's one of our, I think joined last year. He's been to like 1 or 2 meetings. And first place is Shannon Gilmore with Sand Serenity. That's really pretty.
Thank you.
Very
All
nice.
right, so let me, I forgot to put the other one into,
Okay.
into best in show. So let me do a quick fix on this first one. Oh, you picked landscapes for both those.
Which is unusual because I am not
That's interesting.
I am not a
Landscape person, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have quite a few more. This is going to be our intermediate category. We still allow people to put in 2 each, so
Mhm.
sometimes you'll see some similar ones. All right.
So with this one, I'll probably try to go a little quicker with the comments.
Sure.
I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, and with this one, honorable mentions, I think. There's like, I'd say there's, I don't know, I have to count. There's like 21. Yes.
2 honorable mentions.
2, yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is something I've never have seen. This was the title of it was a brood egg cicada wing. I've never seen a brood cicada wing. You know, it's very representational and it's kind of documentary, but you know, it's really kind of cool. I've never seen anything like that. Very nicely mounted. A little bit of noise perhaps above, but nice. Let's keep it in. So this is really exciting. What I loved about this is the sense of action. It's super dynamic. I think the photographer was panning on this light gray horse because it's sharply focused and everything else is blurred. And I think again it's a pan because I'm looking at the ground and how that's strapped on, and you can see where the ball is. But the fact that you've got this one part of the element that's sharply focused and the rest is soft, this makes me think of a National Geographic type of film that you would see in there. I have one comment, and I'm not sure whether I should say it or not. It seems a little off balance. It seems, I mean, you don't want the horse's nose to be on the edge because then the judge will say, well, the horse is going out of the picture. And so I don't want to say that. But I don't know what it needs here. I played with this too close. Oh no, that's going to work. I just think it needs just a little bit off, a little bit. Think about cropping just a little bit, maybe just up to this white barrier, up to that point, because then that would balance what you have on extreme left. Think about it. Think about it. Very nice. We'll keep this, please. Beautiful image. I'm assuming this is an eagle, although again, I think it's a hawk. Yeah, that was my second guess. Really nice. And what's really nice is the unusual position of the head, completely turned around. It really shows you some character of the bird. It's sharp. Everything that needs to be in focus is in focus. You know, the feathers are beautiful. The tones, everything there is really nice. This diagonal line, the branch, again, adds some sense of dynamism to it. Where I think this image could be strengthened though is the background is distracting. I think a shallower depth of field would you be able to keep the focus on the bird. It seems to be pretty much on the same plane and not have these branches above and the bottom that are distracting. So we'll pass on this one. I believe me, I know wildlife photography is hard. I don't do it. When I do, it's an abstract. You can get away a lot if you're doing abstract wildlife. So believe me, those of you who do wildlife, I know what challenge it is. So this is really kind of fun. This hummingbird, I love, again, the diagonal line. I love the plate. You can see like the feet at the bottom. The wings have this exercise of motion. What I would like though with the wings is I either would want them blurred more or more sharp, one or the other. I kind of feel like this exposure was somewhere in the middle. And I think would have been stronger. Again, you could disagree, and unlike cropping, you can't take this one over again. But that's what I just feel. This is where my eye is. And I think I would like it either sharper or more blurred. The feeder is fine. I mean, that's showing where the bird is going. Maybe just tone down that white a little bit so it's not as draws your eye as much. We'll pass. What a tender moment. You can see the child's eye looking straight onto a grasshopper. Something, we'll call it a grasshopper. It's really, really nice. I love the background. It's soft. Your focus stays here. The face is in focus. There's some softness in the hand, but you want that. That's great. But what really makes this image, see this gap on the extreme right between the border and the child's shoulder. Imagine if that went over, it would all blend together, and you wouldn't know where the body ends or began and where the edge. So this edge, this is something I learned from Sam Aiken from a workshop I did with him in Santa Fe. Oh, I bought this t-shirt or sweatshirt. The importance of gaps, creating depth. One nitpick here is this little white spot underneath her arm. I don't know what that, I don't know if it's a name tag or something, but I wish it wasn't there. It's a slight distraction. Again, it's a nitpick, but we'll keep this. Forgive me, I don't know what kind of bird this is. That doesn't matter, I don't need to know. I really love the position of the bird, the diagonal, the tail tips, how they come out, they're also diagonal. The beak, all the things, the head that needs to be focused is in focus. The background, the choice of aperture was perfect, nicely blurred and all of that. Just think, maybe cropping off this very top of the background is lighter shade. It's a little, it pulls my eye a little bit. Just imagine, just cropping that out a little bit. That way your eye doesn't get pulled there. The branches is fine. So it's a really, really nice photograph. I'd like to see something more than just a portrait of a wildlife. I really want to see something. But very nice photo. So this is really interesting. One is I've never seen a bug like, I don't know if it's a ladybug. I don't think it's a ladybug. But it's different. It doesn't come across to me like a portrait of a bird. It has a different feel to it. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's cement or it's organic. I think maybe it's organic. I don't know, but it's really, really interesting. And again, you've got some complementary blue with yellow. That always works fabulous. The depth of field is great because the background is nicely out of focus. Your attention stays here. It's really different. I'm going to keep this one. It strikes me as unusual. So as I looked at this image, I love the sky. Sky is beautiful. I mean, I feel like I've been there. I've been there. I've been at the shore and I've seen that. And the sky is wonderful. So all that is really terrific. But what I struggle with is the left side of the image and the cars. So I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be looking at this gorgeous sky and the sunset and these colors or the cars. To me, the magic is in this left part. And again, think about losing a lot of pixels. That to me is where the image is, this upper right corner. And I think that's a really, really nice image. Beautiful clouds, beautiful colors. But the cars are just too distracting, so we'll pass on this. What a tender moment. Again, this is what we did this past summer. We all know we're going through COVID. We're still going through it. I see this. I'm a Mac. I don't know the artist. I don't know who are these people. The mind fills in vacuums. The vacuum that my mind is filling in is this. I'm guessing it's the story I'm telling myself is this is the daughter, that's the mother. They haven't seen themselves in a year because they just got, I don't know. But that's the story I want to tell myself, and that pulls me in. And I love the hands and her hands and those hands down there. You don't see any of the eyes, but that's okay because you get the sense of what's happening here. And it's really, really beautifully done. A nitpick is up here in this upper right corner. I wish, this red, I don't know, dustbin, garbage pail, something or other, and this green thing coming out. I wish they weren't there. It pulls my eye away from this really awesome capture. Those are a decisive moment, like Henri Cartier-Bresson will talk about. Get it, and then it's gone. Person got it. That's really nice. We'll keep this one. So this one I had to look at for a little bit because I was looking at my make sure I got it right. I love these two gentlemen. I get a feeling it's a Sunday afternoon. They're getting together and they're just chatting, and you see all this green. I get a sense of family from this. I look at the paintings and the things on the walls. It looks like a World War II photograph of a soldier and his sweetheart. And there's grandchildren pictures in the back. But my eyes struggle as to where am I? What's the focus? What's the subject? Is it these gentlemen? So the backgrounds are distracting, and I think there's some story here that I don't know because I see this tape on this gentleman's face, and I just can't. What is that? And then I noticed there's a roll of tape down there. So I'm guessing this is some kind of inside story, some kind of inside joke. And it's a great capture, again, a decisive moment, but in a competition versus what I'm seeing, I'm not sure where the subject is. And there's just a lot of other stuff that's distracting. So pass. Beautiful waterfall. Really, really nice. I love the velvety look. I really like the soft tones, the going from like a beige or a brown into gray, and you pick up some greens and some yellows from the moss down here. All of that is really, really nice. Composition, this looks pretty centered. That's exactly, I think that was a good choice. What I would ask you to consider is, do you need this bottom, I don't know, quarter of the image, this foreground area? I mean, the foreground of the waterfall is right where the waterfall hits the lake or the river or whatever. So what would I would ask you to think about cropping out a lot of the leaves or the trunks on the bottom. Consider that. And also consider at the very top of the waterfall, you see this highlight, this little bit of sky. We all know when you shoot waterfalls, when you shoot up, you're sometimes going to get sky. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So it's not, again, this is a nitpick. It's a shade of gray that's okay, but I almost think it might be better if you just had just a tiny suggestion of sky with a little bit of foliage and take out that very top bit. Anyway, we'll keep it. So this is outerworldly. I had to stop for a second and calibrate what is this? Well, it's a cave. And you can see I'm not a cave, the liquid heights and the other things. The ones that grow up, the ones that come to stop.
Tights and
There's really a lot going on in here. And I'm wondering if this was done in HDR. If it was really beautifully done. It looks very natural to me. It looks like it was lit, but you would expect that to be. But there's just, it almost looks like a little city, especially down here. And then the above, the top part of the picture, it almost mirrors it. Hold on, I'm looking at it. Is that? I think it is. No, I'm not sure if it.
There's caverns, the Ori caverns, where there's water, and I think it's.
Ah, okay, all right, I'll go with that. I like it, let's keep it. It's really got a lot of interest to it. You can look at that for a long time and not get bored. So really cool dynamic shot. Look at the horse in the background, his eye, how it's focused in. I don't know if they're playing or fighting or whatever, but there's just a lot of action there. And I love how you see the hooves and it really captures a very specific moment where I would ask the artist to think about, do you need a lot of this background? Again, I think the tighter crop, focusing, taking all the background out that's not necessary and just having the action part of the horses would make this a stronger image, because the background is soft, but it really needs to be softer. And I think there's more background than that takes away from the subject. So we'll pass on this one. So what I love about this image, and it took me a second to see it, is I see this train and my eyes focus here, and I love it. And I see there's a person back there. And that really, I think really makes the image more interesting. It's not just a locomotive. There's a person driving who's looking forward, the train's moving. The sky looks, the sky to me almost looked like a neutral density filter was used, because the clouds look a little, when they're streaky, when you do like a really long exposure, but that wouldn't be possible because otherwise the train would be blurred. So I'm not sure how the sky was done, but it's really interesting. I love the steam coming out. I like the fact that you've got a gap there. It's a nice image, but we'll pass on this one. This is really nice. These are really hard, but this was really beautifully done with the starburst, the clouds, the colors here. It almost looks like the clouds are coming down, like there's some wind shear. And then you see these flares, lens flares, which in many cases, lens flares are a bad thing. You think they detract. In this image, I think I really like this. Yeah, they look even better when I stand back. Really, really nice. One thing to consider, is thinking about just a tiny bit of sky, that very top part. Just think about it. Just think about it. But otherwise, it's beautifully done. We'll keep this one. So this is interesting. I have never seen the moon, that phase of the moon, that close to the horizon, that size. That's really cool. And to the way that cloud, the different colorations between almost white, a banded yellow, and kind of like reddish, that's really, really, that really caught my eye. Very, very nice. The horizon is at the right point, the overall exposure, everything is really nicely done. Where I think this image could be strengthened is I find the birds to be distracting. These two, and there's a third bird closer to the top. I think I'd like them to be either sharp or preferably not there at all. And then again, think about, maybe taking off a bit on the top, because this top cloud in the upper right really doesn't give you anything. Just imagine, maybe taking off that top, I don't know, a couple inches off of there. We'll pass on this one. So this is some kind of machinery. It's John Deere, I get that. And there's lots going on in here. There's some, looks like some mechanical springs and lots of bolts and just a lot of really neat stuff happening in there. And the overall tones are really nice. So it's all really, it's a nice photograph. The highlights detract a little bit, but more than anything, I'm not quite sure where my eyes are supposed to go. Now, I think what I find most interesting is this center part in here. You've got some mechanical springs, you've got something circular, you've got some, some bolt. That to me is the excitement part. The rest of it almost is detracting, so we'll pass on this one. So this is a nice, I'm guessing it might be a maybe not a sunflower, but I'm not a botanist either, so I'm neither a wildlife biologist or a botanist. So I don't know what kind of flower it is, but that doesn't matter. It's really very nicely composed. The leaves almost feel like a hand to me, holding up this lighter shade. And the fact that you've got three, you always hear, odd numbers and composition work well. So the fact that you've got three of these, we got a little bit of water, there's that. I almost get to feel like it's a hand holding a child that's crying or something, some sorrow or whatever. I would maybe darken a little bit here on the very, very bottom. There's a little highlights there. Goes a little, but that's a nit. This was just fun to look at when I first saw it. It's a grasshopper inside a flower, and I've never seen that. It's a great capture to have seen that. It's an unusual angle. I love the fact the focus, the background is black. You've got some nice contrast in the colors. This middle center part, I wish that was just toned down, not a lot, just a little bit, because again, it pulls my eye up, and I think you want me to stay here with the grasshopper are and the center of the flower. So we'll keep this one. Very nice. Nice, beautiful shot. Yes, it's a great blue heron. Looks blue. I love the arc of the left wing. How you just see that you don't. I usually don't see it a lot of times in bird photographs. But all the things that need to be in focus in the bird are. What's a little distracting is the background. It's soft, but there's enough little highlights that come out. So I would think I would like this to have been a slightly an aperture that gives you even less depth of field, so that all of that would go soft, so we'll pass this.
Are you gonna have to help me again with
Okay,
the L's?
first, that's, the hawk is out. Hummingbird is out. This bird is out. The sunrise. And the two gentlemen. The horses. The train. The moon. Maybe it's the sun. Maybe it's the coast. Jean-Pierre. And the eagle. Okay, so there's first, second, third, or two honorable mentions.
Okay.
Honorable mention, child with grasshopper. Honorable mention, the waterfall. Third place, landscape. Second place, the two women. And first place, the
Awesome. Okay. First honorable mention. It's Marian Esposito. She's logged in. So the love of nature. So she's out in Personville.
Thank you.
Second one. Lauren Dow. Oh, Cecilia. Lauren Dow.
Who is it?
Cecilia is her first name, and then her last name is long. It's like Lauren and then Deaau.
Hi, it's Lorendo.
That's called Majestic. Third place is Field of Sunset Dreams, and I don't have a person. Actually, it says copyright ABF. ABF, just write that down. We'll get this going next time. We'll be really good at it. By the end of the season, by the end of the season, we'll be pros.
You're doing
Right? Second place is Sister Love After COVID. So you're
All right.
close, sisters. And that's Elizabeth Linares, Linares.
Yes, thank
We're
you.
just spelling this out for the ribbons.
Thanks, Samantha. Thanks,
Okay.
Tom.
And first place is Polo in the Park by Patricia Berry.
Oh.
So she was with us the night she took that. So that's kind of
Yes,
cool
I
on one of the
was.
meetups.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
that's at Morgan Park. That was actually super fun. So hopefully we'll do that again next year.
Mhm.
You could take food and wine and sit out there and watch the games and take pictures. It's really fun.
It was a lot of
All
fun.
right. Oh. It worked.
Would you make sure I answer the best? Okay.
That's what was, it like hesitated and I thought I did it wrong. It's fine. Okay. Okay, we have quite a few on this one. I'm thinking it's probably similar. It's like, it's like 19. So two honorable mentions.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody need to take a break? There is a bathroom. Oh, wait, if you need it. Okay. All right.
All right. Lovely water scene. Great, again, as a black and white, you've got black blacks and whites, and that's always a great place to start. It's really a great cat capture. Everything is nice. I love the background or the foliage in the back. Really gives it a nice sense. It's very soft. It's very suggestive. It almost has a sense of mystery to it. Really very nice. So we'll keep this one. This image, it's very dramatic, and this must have been a hard image to make. Shooting into the sun like that with the clouds, given all the other situations, this was hard. There is white, there is blacks, there is highlight, but it almost is blown out. The part that really excited me was this highlight of this light here on the ground. That's what I wish I could see more of. This is hard. I mean, and the person who took this, I congratulate them for making such a challenging image and putting it into competition and wanting to get some feedback. I just think this part is just blown out to the point where it detracts from the image. I don't know what cropping it is that doesn't work. Anyway, it was I love it. It's a great, we'll pass. It's a tough image to make. So this was kind of comical. As far as I can tell, it's a bee going inside a tulip bud. So it's really kind of whimsical. I guess this is made pollen. This is how we get into our food and flowers and everything else. So it's really kind of fun. I mean, it really is kind of comical. I think those are the legs. But I almost need to see more. I'm not quite sure where exactly my eye should go. And while the background is soft, this here on that lower left, there's probably another flower out there. It's a bit distracting, and if you could crop it out, all of a sudden the rest of the image I think looks stronger. So think about that. So we'll pass. This is, I believe it's a dragonfly. It's really kind of comical. I know that's his eyes up here, but I almost see a face here, So again, I see this and I think, oh, I've seen this. And then you realize, no, we haven't seen this before. It's really beautifully done. I mean, all that's in here is sharp. The parts of the wing that you would want to have the detail, those are sharp. These are a little soft, the lower part, but fine, because there's the wing, the bird, the wings are constructed. What does I find a little bit distracting is I think it's fine having, part of this plant being shown, but I almost feel it's like almost too much, that I don't think you need all of that. Imagine cropping it up to where that left foot, I don't know if that's what you call that on the dragonfly is a foot, but wondering if you crop that out, because this is the magic here in the wings and that face. This weight down there, the fact that it's dark, I find distracting. So I'm going to pass on this one, regretting it. So this is another one I needed to step back when I was looking at home. This has, I mean, it's a fly. But it almost feels like it's from Hollywood or something from outer space, of some alien creature that's come to Earth and they have wings. It's really arresting. Really arresting. The way the tones are handled is beautiful. You got definitely blacks, and some really white whites up here, particularly in the head area. I almost wish this tree branch wasn't there, but it is what it is. Really nicely done. I mean, more than anything is the tone and the sharpness of it. Just really, I find really beautifully, very nicely handled. And the fact that the wings are almost a little soft, I like that. Because I know that they're there, but this is the part I find most exciting. To me, it almost looks like an astronaut on wings. And we'll keep this one. So this is another one. Again, I had to, you see it better up close. You don't really see it. I had to step away to notice that it's a leaf, not a leaf, excuse me, a feather. And it's almost an abstract. It almost looks like a tongue to me coming out, which is, I think is kind of fun. I love this part of the structure. I don't think I've ever really have seen a leaf photographed from this angle. So I like all of that. I love the gray. I'm on the fence as to the shadow area, whether I would like to see the whole shape or not. We all know our minds when we look at images where a circle or a wheel is cut off, our mind fills it in and it doesn't bother us. And my mind fills this in to some degree, but the challenge that I have is this artist photographed a feather in a way I've never seen before. So my mind is struggling with filling that in. My compliments for photographing it from this perspective, really nice. And I'm not sure about that. So we're going to keep it in. I mean, I think it's the person who did this was very creative. I like it. Who doesn't like cake? Really nicely handled. You've got, I mean, it looks delicious. I mean, I really want to have a bite of this. So it's handled nicely, but I'm not exactly sure where my eye's supposed to go. I mean, I see this part, but the edge from here to this part of the cake is very soft. And I think I would want that to be either sharp or, more than anything, I think just coming a few inches to the left would have give some space here, because I kind of know what this is. And the raspberries, I'm guessing those are raspberries. I love the softness of them, but I almost feel like there are two photographs here. There's this part with the layers, and there's the exterior part of the cake. And I'm not quite sure what really is the focus. I'm not sure if cropping would help this or not. It's really interesting perspective. And again, seeing is wonderful. That's great, but I'm going to pass on this one just because I struggle with where to look. Yeah, these made me hungry when I was looking at these. Really fun, a cobbler of sorts, I think. I love the curvature of this line. There's a little bit in focus here. That's okay. This part is in focus, and the background is soft. There are pure blacks in here and some really good highlights, but I'm not exactly sure it's a piece of pie. I would like some dramatic light, something that says other than I'm a piece of pie. But it's nice, but it's what we'll pass. So this is a sweet scene of this statue. It really, again, I think of it in the times that we are in COVID. You can't help me, it's an angel. You can't help but think of the nearly 700,000 people who have passed away from COVID in the last year and a half. That's what this makes me think of of this COVID time, certain way. So it's very nice photograph handled in that way. What I would have liked to have seen is this background softer, so that would have been using, like a 1.1 or 2.8 aperture. This looks more like an f8 or so thereabouts. I think if there's too much depth of field. And then again, any type of portraiture, whether it's wildlife or statuary or something man-made, show something dramatic light, different perspective, something unusual. So we'll pass on this one. So this is kind of common. This is another one that you can't really look at up close. You really have to give it a little bit of perspective. Because you do get perspective. You see that sidewalk or that passageway leading up, and you notice all sorts of, I believe it's a cemetery. You can see a statuary and obelisks and mausoleums and that type of thing. So it has a very almost somber feel to it. And then you see this chicken or rooster walking across the bottom. So it makes your mind stop. So I find that to be somewhat comical. Where I struggle with is this is what's called a high key image. It has a lot of highlights, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong. Shooting high key or low key, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But where I think this image to be considered to might be better is the sky is just so bland. If this was a dark, if the sky could be made darker, because you lose this this centermost mausoleum, or I'm not quite sure what structure is, it just kind of disappears. And in fact, it's all kind of disappears except for these black pillars that come up. So great scene. I like that, but I'm going to pass. Really nice portraiture of this horse. I love the detail in the nostrils and the mouth and the muscles and the veins and all of that. And the head is nicely in focus. And then there's a little softness, as you would expect, as you go towards the rear of the horse. Very nice. I would have liked the background to be even softer. I feel there's just a little hint of softness. I think it needs to be a lot softer. And the angle of the horses is nice. I have to say, I like that. I find them, different. I almost feel as if this horse is trying to say something, but we'll pass on this one. So this image, I feel like I've seen this, or not this exact car, in Death Valley or someplace out west. And it's really kind of comical because you'll notice you've got this old car, and I really like the headlights. You can nice, beautiful sharpness all throughout the car. That's great. You've got this tree growing out of it, and then attached to the tree, there's some bottles and bucket or flowering or something like that. So it's comical, So it's that's that. But I'm not quite sure what the subject is. Is it the car, or is it the tree with these things sticking out? And the way this branch goes above the horizon, this one, and again, this one up here, I find distracting. This would have been the case where if you had a ladder to have the horizon essentially higher, so they weren't covered, I think wouldn't create as distracting, because you've got this big sky area with these two sticks kind of protruding. So we'll pass on this one, but very nice handling of the tones. This is another one that I had to step in the back, really get a better appreciation for it when you come back. So this is a hummingbird, and the lighting is magnificent, where most of the image is very soft. I mean, it's dark, but right in the head, which is beautifully focused, and the feathers, it's almost like there's like a spotlight on the bird. That really, really was nice. And in this case of the hummingbird, the wings are less important. I mean, the wings are there, but you know, in most hummingbird images, usually it's the wings that really catch your attention. In this case, what really excites me about this are not the wings. They're suggested, but it's this action, this communication between the hummingbird and that flower who's getting the nectar. Beautifully handled, so very nice. We'll keep this. So fireworks in black and white. To get a fireworks in black and white that really works is hard. And the artist here, I think, did a fabulous job because it's, you know, they caught it at the really decisive moment of action and burst. So you don't need the color for you know, at least for me, to really like this image. And I love all the little tiny bursts in the background. And I guess this is the flare of the rocket going up, but it's really, really, and it's sharp and the background is all black. It's great. One little nitpick, this is a nitpick, is here in the lower, well, kind of like the middle left, there's this one little vertical piece of firework part. That's, yeah, that one there. And I almost wish it wasn't there. But again, being uber nitpick on that. Really nice. We'll keep this one. So what I liked about this one was it almost conveys a sense of quiet, a sense of people looking at images and trying to understand what they're seeing. Obviously, this was stopped in their action, so I get a feeling that they're really trying to understand the photographs. I love the 4 sets of threes. Threes always work good, even though it's 6. I see 4 sets of threes, and I really like that. Here's another very important thing. Here is look at the feet. The fact that on both women there's space between their feet, that's critical. Look at pictures where people's feet are together, and as opposed to where there's a space, there's depth. That was really important in this image. Really nicely handled. What I find a little putting off a little bit, there's a vignette treatment done to this in all 4 corners. It just feels like it's a little heavy. Particularly in the lower left and lower right, not so much up above, but particularly in the lower left and lower right, I feel the vignette draws too much attention to itself, but we'll keep this one. Great shot of a big blue heron, maybe? I'm not sure. Blue heron, all right, we'll go with blue heron. Really beautiful portraiture. Look at how nicely sharp the feathers are, and the grasses, and it's a really great capture of this bird and its environment. And I love the grasses of how all the shapes. And this one in particular, on the extreme left, how it comes up and it curves in. It sort of like brings my eye back into the photograph. Really, really nicely done, really nicely sharp. But I'm going to pass because with wildlife and things that aren't moving, I need. So this image, there's something here being communicated. There is. I have every confidence that there is. I'm just not 100% sure what excited the photographer to make this image. I think it's this action going on down here, these old stumps coming out of the water. Part of me wants to say it's a reflection from here. That looks like a reflection. I guess it is. I don't know. I mean, some things look like reflective and some things don't. Anyway, I don't know where my eye should rest. I'm not, I think there's something wanting to be communicated. I just don't know what it is. And this part, this top third almost of the picture, I think the action is here somewhere. I don't think this top part, this far bank, has a whole lot. There's something going on. So I'm going to pass on this
Yes.
Oh, did we see it in color? Or was it-
No, we
Oh,
see it.
oh,
I think
then was that the
that's
first
the first
one?
one.
Was that the first one? See it? Oh, no, it wasn't. I think we saw it in color. We did.
We saw it in color.
We
Okay.
saw it in
So
color.
we see it in color.
I don't see it in black and white. Yes, yes.
So it works in black and white as well.
It's simple.
Well, all those other comments still apply here, except for the color. It feels like it's holding up those, the petals, what was green feels like it's a hand holding up a child, holding something up, and the dew on it makes me feel like something sad is happening there. Again, the highlights down here at the very bottom of the leaves, I think those could be toned down a little bit. We'll keep this one. So this one, again, I like to sometimes want to get back. This one has, I do a lot of I lead a workshop called CAMP, Contemplative and Mindful Photography. I haven't done it in about a year because I got online and rewriting. But the main thing about it is it's kind of like a meditative form of photography. It's a little Zenish, you might say. There's a lot of mindfulness. It's seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary. That's a pretty ordinary, I don't know, is it a weed? Some kind of something growing up. But the simplicity of it is amazing. It's so simple, but look at the lighting on it. Again, it almost feels like that, like a hummingbird, like it has a spotlight on it. It's like it's luminescent or somehow. The background is nicely soft. I would like this little part, again, nitpicking, I would like that just to be a little darker in there, just because it's just a little bit, but really, it's so simple, but it's gorgeous. We'll keep it. All right.
Okay.
You guys make this hard. You guys are good photographers. All right.
Oh, wait, that stays up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm not-
So this sun, that one comes out. The next one to the right of the one, that one comes out. Yeah, pie. Statue.
This one?
Yes. Sunshine. Horse. Yeah, car. If that one comes out. And the ones from here on.
From here.
Okay, so first, second, third, and honorable mention. Okay. Wait a minute, all right, so it goes up to here.
Up to the
Okay.
last picture.
I was gonna say, oh, they're all black and white.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Honorable mention, fireworks.
That was like, that was the honorable mention song.
What do you win?
Yeah.
Honorable mention, the feather. Honorable, okay, so third place, this insect. Second place, we'll call it grass. Weed has a negative connotation. Good. And first place, the
Right. Okay, honorable mention of fireworks. The rocket's not red glare. And that's ABF as well.
We,
That's
yeah, we
better.
figured out that's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonder what- Feather. Honorable mention, a lost feather, and this is Christina Carr. Third place is Dragonfly in Rest by Christina Carr. And second place, Grass. Perfect name, Grass. That is by nobody. Yeah, nobody. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Maybe they're online and they can put it in the chat.
I'm watching the chat.
Thanks. And first place is Sunlight Spotlight. You got that one.
Mhm.
That is Beth Better. Very nice. Okay, you doing okay?
I'm doing great. How are we doing?
Good.
We have two more categories.
Yeah, and experience like these. We have none in that one. I'm just joking. Yeah, I mean, we'll get
And then how many are just trying to get a sense?
about the
Okay.
same.
So
So we have Betty. Two honorable mentions. Novice, intermediate experience.
Mhm.
Throughout the years in that category. Sometimes we about where else, but this isn't like it's just
Okay. So I love being by the shore and by the, I love how this this lighthouse, and I love the angle and all that and the foreground. All is good and the composition is good. It's right in the middle, which is fine. Just bother me, but this one seagull here, little kind of pulls my. And I know, but I think I would have liked some something, some. Awesome use. Yeah, it's bridges. Here was to the photo, a very distinct angle. Two diagonal tones, complement. Look, keep it.
I'm monitoring the volume. Display. a little bit closer.
You all. Okay, all right. Tender moment. I don't know what this, I think it's a, but he is just, it's a parade Saturday morning. Sharp is though is the background right hand side. I see, and they're soft. It's beautiful. So this one, photographs with 2 hummingbirds. I've seen more, but the colors very between beautifully, and the background.
Excuse me.
Sharp, like the eyes are sharp, the feathers. Soft, but that's okay. What I would ask you to consider is this lower left pink seems to be it's soft. So you just consider it. That's all I ask you to do, whether you think that might be strength. We'll keep this. I love the detail of Fidelia. That I do. It almost has a soft, very romantic feel to it. And what's easy to focus is focus, and parts of the flower that are soft, they should be soft. Beautiful. But again, I'm coming back to the painters versus the artists. I'm not sure what everything else around the flower has. I think it detracts, particularly this upper left corner, that green. Imagine the photograph being tighter, just like where those of you in the room you can see where my hand is compared to all I find that all distracting. So think about that. I love abstracts. I'm assuming this is a tree trunk, maybe it's not, but I think that doesn't really matter. I see all sorts of things in here.
Still every 5 words.
I see, I see birds, bills, I see lots of abstracts. You can see all sorts of things. Really nicely done. The tones are great. I feel texture. This is a great example of texture. I'm glad we all see this one. Really nice rainbow scene. It almost feels like this is from a movie that Pixar would make. There's a certain clarity to it that really just pops, particularly the grass area. I love all that, and the lighting that's coming onto the trees, and the rainbow and all that in the sky is really nice. It's a very nice photograph, but against the composition. Awesome. I'm guessing maybe a monarch butterfly, maybe not. The butterfly itself is beautifully focused. The flower, the yellow part that the butterfly is attracted to, that's all really nice. It's sharp and focused. That's all good. The background is soft, but it needs to be softer. If not softer. Again, I'm talking about losing a pixel. This highlighted area, the center part at the top, is somewhat distracting. And if you got rid of it, all of a sudden, the background really works really nicely. Now, you'd lose part of the butterfly, and maybe you wouldn't want to do that, but think about it. We'll pass on this one. What a tender moment. I love it. The direction of the eyes, the green eyes are mysterious. The fruit he's holding, I think it's a boy, matches his face, the curls and all that. It's beautiful. And the background, beautifully handled. A few nice little highlights of yellow dispersed among the greens. Beautifully handled. I love the space on both sides. Great, we'll keep this one. Very nice. I love this lotus. I love the feeling that it's conveying who I am, and I love how the sky is soft and the colors, and it's an environmental portraiture in nature. It makes me think of Claude Monet's garden outside of Paris, and these little buds on the left, I think, are all wonderful, and the softness right to the right and below the lotus, I think that's gorgeous too in the light. Where I have trouble with this image is in the weight. You have a lot of weight of the lotus on the left, and on the right, I almost consider this negative space, but it's negative space that's competing with the lotus. So I would ask for you to consider, cutting out about, most of the right half. You're using a lot of pixels, but I don't think this adds to the photograph. I think it takes away from it. So we're going to pass on this. This, I think, speaks of COVID times. It's a tulip past its prime. It's bent over. It's lost its colors, but nonetheless, the shape of this leaf that it's in, it almost feels like it's cradled, like it's being held, that it's like it's okay. And there's a little bit of moisture, and it's all nicely in focus. I think I would have liked this top part to be just a little darker, but again, that's a real nitpick. It's beautifully done. We'll keep this one. Great action shot, lots going on. I love the fact that you see the hat on the ground with the hand up in the air. The people in the background are soft. If they were softer, I think it'd be distracting. You expect to see people, and I think the artist handled it just right. Great action scene. And the horse is great, but given the company, I'm going to pass on this one. I know where this is. I've been there. It's a beautiful place to go. When I saw this image before the competition, what I'm really curious is, it looks beautiful in color. I'd love to see black. Because this really isn't, I mean, it's beautifully handled. The tones and the greens here and all of that, and the colors are great. This one, to me, just personally speaks to me as a black and white, but be that as it's not my photograph, it's theirs. But I really like it. It's very dramatic. The sky communicates. I love the mud in the ground, so we'll keep this one. Very interesting close-up inside a flower. I don't know if those bees are alive or dead or what they're doing. But it's really interesting. What's really hard with flower photographs is where to cut off the petals. And this photograph did a really nice job. I mean, yes, a couple up here are cut, but really handled this nice. And having this tiny little space on the leftmost edge is beautifully handled. It's a nice composition, but I think I'm going to pass on it given all the others that I've seen. Beautiful close-up of maybe it's a dahlia. I'm not sure. I like the focus in here. I love the reds versus the yellows and the water, and it almost feels like a nest. And I like the water and all of that. But I think I would have liked this a little more to think about, considering cropping this just a little bit so it's more off center. It kind of looks like it's in the center. So I don't know if that was really intentional or an error. So I think you could put something right in the middle if you want it in the middle, or really show that it was intentional not to be in the middle. So very soft, romantic feel to this portrait. I love the profile. The background flower arrangement complements the woman and her dress. A lot of times the background, you want it soft. Here, it's not really soft, but it works beautifully, and it really frames the woman and her head. The way her arm comes around. I wish I had seen just a little bit more of her arm, because otherwise you see two parts of the arm and it seems a little odd. But if you saw just a little bit more of her arm there, you would have just get a sense of how the arm continues. We'll keep this one. But then, again, these are nitpicks, which they're not disqualifiers. They're just
Right.
Okay. So we're going to pass on the lighthouse. We're going to pass on the dahlia. Pass on the rainbow. We passed on. And we passed lotus. Passed on the horse. The purple flower. Red flower. And I think everything else is in.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm from here. Okay. Oh, you guys make this. Give me a second. My handwriting. Oh. Okay. Oh, no, not yet. Okay. All right. Honorable mention, the hummingbird.
Okay.
We'll mention the abstract. Third place, the tulip. Second
Oops,
place.
hold on, did move some.
Second place, the bridge. And first place, the jump.
All right, so first honorable mention is Jeff Burke, no title. We'll just call that one pink. He's out in Montana, so they should be online. Okay. Second honorable mention. Rooster in the bark. Did you see a rooster? Now we see it. Rooster in the bark. That is Doug Mattis. Let's see, that's why the titles will help later, right? Okay, this one is Fading Beauty, and that is by, oh yeah, Gretchen. Second place is Morning on the Bay. And I don't have a name for that one. I'm just looking. I don't have a name. First place.
Audrey,
Oh, that was Audrey.
yes,
Yes.
that's mine.
Okay, good. First place is no information at all. Lovely child with an apple. Beautiful child with an apple. Anybody online for that one?
I'm waiting.
Yeah,
Okay.
the eyes are just,
Yeah, that's beautiful.
just beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, so we got one last.
Oh, that's Justine. Yay, that's Our Lady in Poland.
Oh, good,
That's
congratulations.
pretty cool. That's
Justine.
pretty cool. Yeah. Did she get photographer of the year last year? Yeah, so she got
Yes.
photographer of the year. We do that points by points. Okay,
All right, one last category. I
category.
apologize.
That's
we're at
okay.
9. Okay, we'll-
yeah. Just push it, everybody. Good job. Same, it's the same. Yeah.
So same for second,
Yeah.
third?
Two are on the-
Okay. All right, so again, in monochromes, black and whites, I look for black blacks and white whites, and that's the first thing I look, and I see that, and I love it. I love, again, diagonal line. It takes my eye into the photograph. The sky is really nice. It looks kind of, the horizon kind of in the middle, but that's okay. That's not in all of our. I love the buoys. This immediate part in the foreground is a little, again, I'm being a nitpick here. I almost wish that had the same texture as the rest of the water. But very nicely done, and this is danger. So we'll keep that. This is really comical. I saw this. It almost looks like it's a sunflower playing peekaboo. You know, so we all have seen sunflowers, but to see that gesture, that human gesture, really great seeing. And the fact that all the others are soft is really beautifully done. And y'all know sunflowers and how those can be really awesome. Really nicely done, so we'll keep this one. This, again, you have your black blacks and your white whites all through here. I love the wake. I love the sense of dynamics of it all. I almost, I have to look less. It is sharp. Yeah, I was going to say it looked a little, but no, it definitely is sharp. I can read that boat, and I can see almost his fingernails on the paddle. It's all really, really nice. What I'm not sure is whether the background works or not. I guess you need it because it shows the river. I guess I almost would feel I'd want something more in this. We'll keep it. So here's another interesting case of this is high key, particularly the background, but this works really nicely. The way that deer is looking at you straight on, and ears, it almost has like a human aspect to it, and the focus is beautifully handled, and the background is really soft, and I love the texture all through that. We'll keep this one. Very nice. Yeah. So this is a case of an animal being shown in a very different way. I love the face. I'm guessing this is a zebra close to the ground. I see his eyes, I see his ears. beautiful handled lighting. All that is magnificent. The one thing that I find is I don't know if these are hind legs or the body, but this vertical art behind the zebra I find distracting, and I really would love it if it was just the face and nothing else. And I think that would have made it strong. We'll keep it. Think of it. So what I liked about this one was the coloration of it. It's, I guess I call this monochrome, and that is, it's not color. It almost has like a fairy tale feel to it. It's mysterious. Things that need to be in focus it's unusual. I've never seen a photograph handled this way. So it really draws my attention. It has mystery to it. I'm wondering what's inside that. So we'll keep this one. Very sweet, beautifully handled. I love this diagonal line. The butterfly on the flower, the butterfly is really sharp and that's beautiful, and parts of the flower are really nice. I would have liked the background is soft, but this highlight area in this upper left corner, I find distracting and pulls my eye away. But other than that, it's a beautiful image, but I'll pass on. This is gorgeous. Capturing, I mean, again, I know how hard wildlife photography is, but capturing the wing and the reflection is just gorgeous. I almost wish this background was darker. You see a couple little highlights, but again, that's a nitpick, and maybe a couple little highlights in the water would be nice if those were a little darker. This is different. Yes, it's just a profile of an egret, but just showing not the whole wing, but just part of it is really, really interesting handle. And I don't know, what would it be like? Maybe not, forget that. Keep all the pixels on this one. So these, pictures of stark trees like that with the sunbursts are always really exciting and fun to do. And this one is handled really nicely. All the trees captured, it's vertical. This other tree in the background almost creates a diagonal line between the two, which is complemented by this little highlight of water going through there. And you've got whites and pure blacks. It's a beautiful silhouette, and I love the sky and the clouds. Very nice. This is almost like that other one with the sunflower. It's almost like a peekaboo effect. I really admire the photographer for seeing this. It's really interesting to focus. One is to see this among all these reeds and to be able to capture this sharp and the softness as it goes away from the point of focus is beautifully handled. I wonder if, again, think about maybe a square format for this. I'm not sure all this space on extreme right and a little bit on the left adds to this subject matter there, but we'll keep it. High key image, beautifully handled. You see a Y shape, very dynamic. Looking at the birds up from this angle, the two of them, I see two dominant curved lines. I see two birds. I see two leaves. It has a very Zen, holistic feel to it. I love it. It's beautiful. It's all sharp as it needs to be. It's gorgeous. We'll keep this. Another great action shot of horses. Those parts that should be in focus are The people in the background are a little soft, but that's okay because you wouldn't want them to be. I love the angle of the horse and all that action. Where I think this image could be a little stronger is the rider on the horse. He really blends in with that gentleman directly behind. You know, his hat, the hat almost becomes disappears against the shirt. So you see this shirt part of the rider, but that's all you really see of him. The rest of him is kind of blends with the tones of the horse and the person behind him. So we'll pass on this one. Very nice. This is, I recognize this also. I'm pretty sure this is Iceland. Could be Norway, but I'm pretty sure it's Iceland. This image, this is a beautiful handle of a wide angle lens pointed down. And that's how a wide angle lens is really serves its purpose. You probably know that is when you've got a great background, it's the foreground that makes a wide angle shot work. And the artist did a beautiful job on it. Great texture, the tones, everything's magnificent. I love it. This one. So World War II memorial. I love the shadow patterns and the person walking between them. I almost would like a little more space between his legs. Otherwise, it just looks like a single figure there. This negative space is really interesting. I like it. It's sort of, to me, I look at this and I'm wondering, was this photographed at night? I know it, you know, my mind tells it, but it almost suggests that it is. Maybe there's some kind of message. The way that was handled, that was really nice. It's a nice photograph, but I'm going to pass on it. I think egret, maybe. Okay, we'll go with egret. Beautiful portraiture. I really like it. I love the pure black background and the pure white of the bird with just some gray tones of the beak and the eye and the legs. Nice, how you see the feathers. It's really great. This feels different than just some of the other sort of portraitures of birds that I didn't keep. I'm going to keep this. It's really beautifully handled. So this is fun. I don't know if this is a composite or I'm guessing it is, because otherwise that woman would be in pain, I think, as she comes down. But it's really kind of fun. It's beautiful. I mean, the sharpness of this is mind-blowing. Really, you look at every corner. The dynamic range and the tones are just absolutely magnificent. So I love it all. I love the gestures and all of that. Again, this is a nitpick. Her right shoe, the black, blends in with this black object back there, because I think the black of the features of her hair, part of her dress, and the shoes against that really largely white background, you really want that to fully pop, and you lose a little bit of that pop there. That being said, we'll keep really the focus is unbelievable. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna. Yep. No, I didn't. I know you guys are passed on that already. Yeah. Passed on that. You guys don't make this easy. I think that was it. Yeah. Okay. So first, second, third, and honorable mention. Okay.
It's 2 honorable mentions.
2 honorable mentions. Okay. Honorable mention, the woman in the diner. Honorable mention, the zebra. And again, at this point, this is your advanced category. So the difference between the honorable mentions and the awards, third place Iceland. Second place, the two birds. And first place, the sunflower.
The
The
sunflower.
sunflower.
Like a peekaboo. All right, so this one is actually mine, and it is a composite. So actually, I did this with her in the studio, and then.
It's great.
Yeah,
The sharp.
and I'll tell you, this is the piece that irritated me the most the whole time I was editing. So.
Yeah, it's all the sharpness. It's mind-blowing.
Thanks. Hey, honorable mention. One is Denise. And there's no name for it, but Denise Silva. She's got Montana as well. They do a lot of trips to Africa. And
Gorgeous. That's gorgeous.
Ripples. And it is Iceland, and I do not see an author or artist. So whoever had Ripples.
Robert Miller says it's me.
Oh, excellent. All right, Robert Miller. Okay. Second place is Sunset Watchers by Gretchen. And first place is Excuse Me. And no name. Anybody for
Waiting here.
sunflowers? It's called Excuse Me. Cannon shooter. I can figure that part out.
Aubrey
Oh,
says sunflower is mine.
oh, awesome. Audrey Gassman. All right, I had forgotten to put the first places in, so let me do that really
Okay.
fast.
Right.
Yeah. I think I'm missing the experience or the intermediate black and white is what I'm missing. Okay, so if everybody's ready, so best in show.
You have 6 best in show?
That's
Well,
this.
I'm gonna go with the Hummingbird. That's just the lighting of it is just magnificent, and the story that it's saying.
Beth Better. A while. So
Yeah.
that's pretty
Very-
cool. Yeah, very
One thing that I
nice.
noticed, man, I don't know, I mean, is some companies I keep hearing the same names. But here, I just kept hearing a lot of different names. I mean, I know different categories, but with it,
Yeah,
I mean, the talent is really well.
spread out, yeah.
This is hard, believe me.
Yeah.
This is, y'all do great work.
You did awesome. That was really great critique. Does anybody have any specific thoughts? I know we're low on steam probably, but thank you so much. That was
My pleasure.
amazing.
You guys are really great photographers. And I know the old nature visions, when you guys are winners, I go, yeah. Loud is up there.
So again, that's coming up, first, I think it's the first weekend in November. So it's the 5th, 6th, and 7th, but on the 7th, we're gonna meet here and do an all-day event. So there's some flyers if you want. I'll post it on Facebook. So any new people, we have a private Facebook group. We communicate and then the meetup, of course, we try to. Last year, we had a few Zoom bombers, so I'm not posting a lot of stuff in meetup. I'm only trying to meet with people directly if they suggest that kind of stuff, so.
So just real quick, Elizabeth says, thanks for the feedback. That says, thank you for the great critiques. Aubrey says, great for the helpful critiques. Richard says, thanks. Jan says, thanks for your thoughtful comments. Great photos, good critiques. Congratulations, all the winners. Just want to make sure you don't have them saying anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're gonna work on that, but just want to let you know, everybody online says, thank you very much for the critiques and for the comments.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I learned a lot. You guys are really. These are just so, it's cameras are, I mean, they're so advanced. It's really hard not to make a good photo. You know, exposure wise.